And welcome to Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling. I'm your host, Nick. Like, rate, review, subscribe if you want other people to like the show. I have vowed to keep this podcast going until the beginning of next football season. We shall see. If you like it, force people in your life to listen to it. That would be my suggestion. Thank you so much for caring. We're going to get updates on the Olympics, and we're going to talk about my favorite NFL storylines. We're also going to do some more gambling for the Super Bowl. It's the most fun year to gamble because you can gamble on fun things. Things that could totally be rigged if people were paying attention, like what color things are going to be and things like that. But we begin today looking at the Olympics. Nathan Chen won the long program men's figure skating gold medal. That happened yesterday morning, 2 days ago. Whenever it happened, it was announced, and we watched it last night, et cetera, et cetera. Let's check in with the medal counts. This matters for geopolitics right now. The cheaters from Russia have 11 total medals. These United States have 10. But the goat of goats, the Norwegians, have 12 total medals, as do the Austrians. The Austrians have 4 gold, 4 silver, and 4 bronze. Norway has 4 golds, 3 silver, and 4 bronze. And the U.S., 5 silver medals, 4 golds, and 1 bronze. Germany, 5 and 3. They have 8 total medals, 5 golds. That all makes sense. Are there any countries that are doing anything interesting? That's kind of what I want to see. Winter country. Italy has winter parts of it. They have 8 total medals. Good for them. Let's look at all the countries with 1 medal. 1 gold for the Czech Republic. 1 gold for New Zealand. Shouts to that. I'll look into what that is. I didn't really think about that. Belarus has 1. They have a silver medal. Free your people, Belarus. Finland only has 3. Guys, get your heads out of your asses. You're a winter country. What are we doing? Poland with 1 medal, and España has a medal. You get toward the north there. I figure Andorra should be better at this. Should Andorra have winter medals? They probably should. Look, we'll look at the medal count. Wait, is that a good? What about this one? No. Wait, we can do it. No. Oh, man, sorry, guys. It's not formatted for medal counts. Maybe I'll make a formatted for medal counts YouTube situation. Okay, I want to talk about the 2 best storylines going into the Super Bowl. One is cute and one is sad and kind of amazing. We'll go with the cute one first. The first one is that Joe Burrow, when he tore his ACL, was rehabbing. And he was rehabbing in Southern California. So Andrew Whitworth had surgery in the offseason last year as well. I think toward the end of the season. I can't remember. So they hung out together. They're both LSU alum. Andrew Whitworth is a left tackle for the Los Angeles Rams. He's in his 40s, which is way more amazing. Like, I'm going to show you a picture of this guy. Look at his gray beard. That guy is an extra on Game of Thrones. Look at him. That's crazy that his story is way crazier than Brady. He's a walk-in Hall of Famer. He played for the Bengals and he's one of the Bengals all-time favorites, maybe like not in the first tier with like Munoz and Boomer Esiason and Chris Collinsworth, but like the second tier of greats with like Carson Palmer. He was on those teams. Bengals had a lot of really great players. Andrew Whitworth was there. He signed with the Rams when they went to California in 2016. They're also both LSU alum, so I'm sure Andrew Whitworth is, you're a man after my own heart. I'm not sure that he was on. I think Whitworth might have been on the Nick Saban national championship at LSU, and Burrow, of course, in the 2019 team. Well, they rehabbed together, and Burrow spent his birthday with the Whitworths. Now, Andrew has young kids, so they probably don't get along a lot, but they spend a lot of time together. And how cool is it for, Burrow's 26 and Andrew's 40, but they got along. They did their work together. Now they're both in the Super Bowl. That's a heartwarming story. Must be nice to be LSU. Not bad, and have the Bengals connection. A lot of Bengals fans, obviously, they're just completely, I would say, delusional about this Super Bowl and how much they're excited about it. But they're rooting for Whitworth, too. They would like to see that guy get a Super Bowl, no question about it. What a great story that is. But the best story, if you haven't been paying attention, the best story coming up of the Super Bowl is this Chris Wesseling thing. Chris Wesseling was one of the coolest NFL writers out there. And people are starting to pick up on this. And he was a cool NFL writer. He was very, how do I say this? He was very suave. He was very debonair, but he was also very rough around. He was very Hemingway. He was very Lost Generation. He was a great writer. So there he is. That's at Super Bowl 52, I believe, in Minnesota. He's was one of the founding members of the greatest NFL podcast, which is Around the NFL. It's my favorite. I listen to every second of every episode. Those guys are awesome. They're just some nerds, and they talk about football. He was a diehard Bengals fan and a writer, and he kind of accidentally stumbled into writing about football, but he would write essays and well-thought-out things, and he made it really nerdy and cool, and his talent was almost wasted writing about sports. He probably could have written about anything. He was the kind of a writer that writers respect, and if you don't know what that means, that is a compliment. Not all writers know what a-holes they are, and so but he was that kind of guy. Well, he had been diagnosed with cancer about 5-6 years ago, and then he had a remission, whatever. It came back and during the pandemic, and that was actually from my personal journey. I was listening to the Around the NFL podcast for the first episode that he announced that the cancer had come back. I had recently discovered the show. He's a diehard Bengals fan, and for a long time, but then he created this, what he called a dossier. He found all of these clippings of newspaper articles for reasons that he was breaking up with the Bengals. He said, it's not the same thing to root for a team that sucks. He envied like the Jets and the Lions and the Jaguars. They're trying occasionally. The Bengals, they don't spend any money. I don't know if you knew this. The Bengals do not have an indoor practice facility. They use the University of Cincinnati's. There's a TikTok that went viral where like the Cincinnati soccer players are like, oh, the Bengals, it's snowing, so the Bengals have to use our facility. They have to cross the street like little schoolboys to go to their practice facility. Their owner, Mike Brown, I think his name is Paul Brown's son. They don't do anything else other than the Bengals, and they just don't spend money. The reason that the Bengals have a lot of guys that you see end up in jail and have problems is because they draft those guys highly. That other teams wouldn't because of the off-the-field concerns. The Bengals are like, well, that can make us better, and we don't have to spend money on free agency. They've been doing that for years. So this Chris Wesseling guy, he created like a no-joke 2,000-page dossier of articles of why he's breaking up with them. But he liked Joe Burrow, and he passed away literally, like I think the Friday before the Super Bowl last year. It was a sad moment, and you feel bad for the Around the NFL guys because like I had listened to the show. He had been doing the show through treatment, and he was getting worse, and it was really hard to listen to him talk, and he was clearly dying. Well, his wife, who is from St. Louis, she's a diehard Rams fan. And they moved to L.A. for his job, and for her, it was like, oh, the Rams are coming to L.A., this is great. And now it's the Rams and the Bengals. His favorite animal, allegedly, and I don't know if this is confirmed, it's just things I heard on podcasts, was a butterfly. And we saw a butterfly on the field. I think I mentioned that. We saw a butterfly on the field in Cincinnati in sub-freezing weather. That's crazy. That doesn't happen. So there's all kind of cosmic and stuff, and now this thing is what's going to happen. It's the Wesseling Super Bowl. Joe Burrow was asked about the Chris Wesseling story, and he said he knew something about it, but not a lot about it. Chris had broken up with the Bengals. Every time the Bengals would make the playoffs, I forget what he would call it. It was like Retribution Day or something, and it was like, they're going to lose. I don't know how they're going to lose, but they're going to lose. And now that he's gone, we're enjoying the Wesseling Super Bowl. It is, if you're not going to find this story that often because I think it's NBC that's calling the game, which is another storyline I guess we can mention here in a second. You're not going to find this everywhere, but if you go to the NFL Network and go to NFL.com and read about it, it really is crazy. It's a cool moment for him and his son, and everybody felt bad for him. And it's the vibe that his friends, and I didn't know him other than a cancer patient, the vibe that his co-hosts and friends have is one of like, man, I wish it had been me that got cancer. And I know that you don't have that, but the way they talk about him, he's a legend. He's a legend. I'd never gone back and listened to any of the Chris Wesseling in his prime episodes, and I don't think that I will because I like remembering him as this myth that they talk about. But I've read a lot of his stuff, and he's an NFL writer that makes you think that you're not wasting your time at work reading about the NFL. So that's one of the coolest storylines in the Super Bowl. That is the coolest storyline in the Super Bowl for me. The other storyline, as I mentioned, Chris Collinsworth is calling the game, which he's just shoved it in our face that every time he calls the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's in it. Well, not this time, son. But he was of Bengals fame. The Bengals, people forget. Remember that immaculate reception, or what is it called? The catch, whichever one it is, that the Niners did with Joe Montana. That was the Bengals. That was Chris Collinsworth's team. He famously said on the sideline to the best left tackle of all time, Anthony Munoz, we left Joe too much time. And they did. Joe Montana went down. One of the greatest 2 or 3 plays in NFL history. But Chris Collinsworth was on the field. So we'll see how he feels. I mean, he purchased huge stake. He essentially owns Pro Football Focus, and he forced him to live in Cincinnati, which, like, I guess that's why they're so shitty at content, is because they have to draw on a pool of talent from Cincinnati and get people to move to Cincinnati, which I would never do for a job. But Collinsworth being in the game is a fun storyline. Okay, let's just, I guess that's a good segue. Is there any other headlines I want to hit? Things that happen around the NFL. Jim Bob Cooter, greatest name in sports, will be the passing game coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did they hire? An offensive coordinator? Jacksonville Jags offensive coordinator. I think that they did. I'd want to say, yeah, it's Phil Rauscher, who I don't know who that is. He was with Minnesota. There were rumors that they might go after Deuce Staley, who is the guy who should be most offended by this Rooney Rule garbage. That guy should have gotten interviews. He should have a job. The NFL announced yesterday that it's going to play games in Germany. My beloved Lions were scheduled to play a game in London in 2020, but alas, the Coco ruined that. I would love to see the Lions in Germany, and they should be one of the favorites because their superstar rookie wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown was raised. His mother is of German nationality. I think he went to school in France as a child, and he's trilingual. They speak German in the home still. He's going to be a superstar in Germany. There is also George Karlaftis, who I believe is an actual German national who went to school at Purdue. He will be drafted in the first round, perhaps highly. So it's exciting. I think Germany, NFL nerds will tell you that have been to the London games will say that it's the only NFL experience that rivals the Super Bowl, and in a lot of ways it's better. Even if the game is bad, it's a celebration. It's the only game that is a genuine celebration of the sport of football. Apparently, the London games are amazing, and Germany has been offended the last 3 or 4 years. They think that they love football more, and statistically, apparently they do, according to like internet traffic and whatnot. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna have to go. Let's talk to the wife about that. She's not gonna be. That's like Oktoberfest. Yeah, not quite. Little late for Oktoberfest. We'll check in with Brad Marchand. Remember, he punched a goalie and threw a puck over the ice. He's been suspended for the most amount of time in his career. He's been suspended for 6 games. That's a lot for Brad Marchand. The Boston Bruins, I think, is he their leading scorer? He's one of their best players. He's one of the best players in the world, top 10, 20, depending on the night. They're playing, let's see, are they playing anybody good over the next couple of games? Kraken, Avs, Avs will be a loss. The Kings might be a loss. And they might get through this unscathed as far as missing Brad Marchand. But that's a lot of games to be suspended. And the reason the NHL said that they suspended him for that long is because he is a repeat offender. Let's track some NBA trades, y'all. February 9th, that was yesterday, the Jazz got rid of Joe Ingles, who's hurt, and he's rehabbing. So the Jazz are breaking it down. They understand what's happening. The Jazz are going to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Hancho Hernando Gomez, which is a cool name. Elijah Hughes also goes to the Blazers from the Jazz. And in a 3-team trade, the Spurs are getting Thomas Satoransky and a second-round pick, which second-round picks in the NBA are stupid. They are completely irrelevant. We talked about the Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, Domantas Sabonis trade. The rumors around Ben Simmons and James Harden are heating up, and they're playing a lot of coy stuff in the media. My gut feeling is that this is not going to happen and that this is a strict ploy by the Philadelphia 76ers to get the media off their ass. I don't think anything is going to happen. Anything. Auburn is investigating Brian Harsin, the guy for maybe possibly banging his assistant who he brought from Boise, which that shit don't fly in the SEC. If you get caught, if you don't get caught, it's probably fine. I'm not going to start any rumors, but some super famous coaches possibly. Don't worry about it. All right, let's get into the gambling portion of our program. We did pass catchers and skill positions. We did touchdowns. Let's get into defense and special teams props. This is the one where I think there's going to be some money made because I see sacks happening. No quarterback that has been sacked 50 times in a season has ever made it to the Super Bowl. No quarterback that has been sacked 9 times in a playoff game has ever won a playoff game. So, Joe Burrow, you are going to have a rough day. I think it's entirely possible that he gets sacked so hard he gets hurt. Okay, tackle props. The leading tackler projection is Logan Wilson. That's really cool. Good for him. I don't love that bet. I don't love any of these tackler bets. Tackle bets to me, defensive guys get hurt in weird ways. Tackle bets, stay away from them. That's just guessing as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I want to talk about sacks. So, defense to record the most interceptions. Do we like interceptions? I remember we thought that we were going to bet on interceptions. That's correct. Here's some fun ones. What will happen first, a sack or a touchdown scored? I'm going to say a touchdown scored. These teams have had a long time to prepare. A touchdown scored is favored, though. There's more juice on the sack. I'll say sack then. Screw it. Let's bring our bet slip up. Bam. Sack will happen first. Wait, can we see it? Yeah, there we go. Where are the sack props? This is really interesting. So if they're not going to give me, where the hell are my sack props, dude? This is wild. If they're not going to have sack props on here, And defensive props, that means that they don't know who's in or out as far as offensive line and tight ends go. Because there are no sack props. Ooh, okay, let's look at, okay, here we go. Total sacks by both teams. The over-under is 5.5 for total sacks by both teams. Oh, over. Easy. And that's juiced? There's going to be 6 or more sacks in this game. Total sacks by the Rams defense is over under 3.5. So they think the Rams are going to get 3.5 and the Bengals are going to get 1.5. I think the Bengals are going to get more than that. The Bengals are a super annoying defense. They do that sit in the pocket thing, and Matthew Stafford does that thing where he like pats the ball. I've been watching Stafford a long time. I should be making a shit ton of money on this game. Over 1.5. Not great odds, but I'm going to take it. So I like overs on sacks. There's going to be sacks all over the place here. First player to record a sack. I'm not into that. There's no anytime sacks. That's crazy to me, guys. We got to pay attention to this. We got to pay attention to these sack marks because that means that they don't have any idea. All right, let's go to interceptions. Total interceptions for either team over 1.5. Oh yeah, way over. 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes threw an interception in the Super Bowl. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Special teams props. This is going to be great. Evan McPherson is so hot right now that that's a story. I just see a world where he misses it. I just see a world where Evan McPherson misses a field goal. I don't know if I want to bet against that, though, because I love the storyline. Let's see what the odds are. Yes is plus 240. Got to do it. It's indoors. I don't know. It's just going to be one of those games where, like, the Bengals are going to have to play perfect, and one of the perfect things that doesn't happen, like, you can see them being down, like, 14-3, and they could cut it to 14-6, and he misses the 55-yard field goal. I don't know. I'm going to take that off because I just don't want to bet against him. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Move to player props now. Super Bowl MVP. Let's do Super Bowl MVP. Tomorrow we're going to do the spread and all of the fun bets. We'll do all the fun bets. I'm going to make a bunch of TikToks tomorrow, I do believe. So Super Bowl MVP to me. As far as making money and being a responsible bettor, Stafford and Burrow are out. Burrow to me is the obvious choice. He's plus 230 to make it. Stafford is plus 125, which is interesting. As a Lions fan who's dealt with this Matthew Stafford stuff for a long time, I can tell you for a fact there is no chance that if the Rams win and Cooper Kupp has over 150 yards receiving, even though Stafford could play perfect, the media are going to continue to fight about Matthew Stafford to the point where they will refuse to give him the MVP. I promise. Like, that's going to happen. That being said, the way that I see this game playing out, with how soft both of these teams are against the run, but how aggressive they are against the pass, I think that screens are going to be a big deal, and I love the running backs to win MVP. I don't remember the last time a running back has ever won MVP. I'm not sure that it's happened. Joe Mixon is plus 4,000. I love that. I love Joe Mixon plus 4,000. Whenever it's a defensive game, they often give it to the best player on the defense. For example, Malcolm Smith won the Super Bowl MVP when the Seahawks dummied the Broncos. And Von Miller won it when the Broncos played really well against the Panthers. So you need to have one touchdown in the game to win the Super Bowl MVP as a defensive player. I think A'Shawn Robinson at plus 30,000 is interesting. A'Shawn has a pick six in his career. He's an interior defensive tackle who are going to be the biggest problem. If he has, say, 3 sacks and a scoop and score at plus 30,000, let's just enter the wager amount here. Let's say $5. A $5 bet wins me $1,500. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Is there a world where A'Shawn Robinson gets a scoop and score and does this? Yes. And the other one I would do it with is DJ Reader because it's the exact same thing. If the Bengals win on defensive touchdowns, if Joe Burrow's got his stuff or whatever, but DJ Reader gets a scoop and score, who forced? BJ Hill's the same thing, plus 40,000. DJ Reader, BJ Hill, A'Shawn Robinson. It could be weird. I'm just saying they don't have to be the best player on the team. They just have to have the best game. So Super Bowl MVP for me, I'm going to bet on those long shot guys because I root for defense and root for cool stuff. And I like A'Shawn Robinson as a guy. But Joe Mixon's the best bet of Super Bowl MVPs for me. Because I think that if the Bengals win, they're going to have to do it on the ground. They're going to have to do it with screen games. The same could be said for the Rams, actually. Cam Akers plus 2,700. So I'm going to bet Cam Akers, and I'm going to bet Joe Mixon. They pay out quite a bit, $5 bet to win $200. All right, that's going to conclude our Super Bowl preview gambling stuff. We're going to get into the fun props, halftime shows, and all that shit coming up tomorrow. It's Super Sunday, and maybe I'll even do a Super Bowl. Maybe I'll even do a Super Bowl episode. Thanks for hanging out. Make all your friends and family listen. Considering sunsetting the show in the next 6 months or so. So let me know if you want to continue to listen. All right. Back and better than ever tomorrow.